Flash games are everywhere, but these completely dominated school computers. Run. A rotating tunnel in deep space, a gray alien, and the most dangerously simple objective ever coded: don't fall. The gameplay isn't complicated. You're sprinting through an endless tunnel, jumping gaps, switching gravity, avoiding holes. That's it. But something about the combination of speed, geometry, and uncomfortable silence made it genuinely impossible to stop. The further you got, the faster it moved, and the more the tunnel's rotation started messing with your spatial awareness in ways that felt almost unfair. What made Run special was how frictionless it was. No logins, no downloads, no load screens. You were in the game within seconds, dead within minutes, and hitting replay before you'd even process what went wrong. The loop was that clean. You were never gonna play it just once. But if Run was a solo experience, the next one made sure you couldn't possibly play alone. Fireboy and Watergirl. Fireboy and Watergirl is a puzzle platformer with a simple concept. One player controls Fireboy, the other controls Watergirl, and you have to navigate each character through their respective temple without touching the wrong element. Fire kills Watergirl, water kills Fireboy. Simple enough. 2 characters, 1 keyboard, and a recipe for either perfect teamwork or total chaos. Pressure plates that needed both characters standing on them simultaneously. Doors one character had to hold open while the other sprinted through. Gems scattered across paths that split in opposite directions. Every puzzle was essentially asking 2 people to become one coordinated unit, and the game knew exactly how hard that actually is. What set it apart from the other Flash platformers was the design philosophy. There was no way to solo it, no clever workaround. The game was literally incomplete without a second player, which was almost radical for a free browser game in the mid-2000s. 5 sequels followed, each set in a different temple: forest, ice, light, crystal, and ruins, each introducing new mechanics while keeping that core dynamic intact. The series never needed to reinvent itself because the foundation was just that solid. The concept was so clean it barely needed explaining. You just sat down, grabbed half the keyboard, and figured it out. But after the necessary teamwork, some players were looking for a completely solitary kind of freedom. Stick RPG. A stick figure, a tiny pixelated city, and a completely open world with no idea what to do with you. Stick RPG dropped you into a city with nothing. No money, no direction, no tutorial hand-holding you through the first 5 minutes. The game technically offered a legitimate path. To get a job, study hard, climb the corporate ladder, and some people did that. But the system rewarded exploration, and exploration led everywhere. You could invest in the stock market, bribe politicians, build up stats through sheer repetition, or gradually slide into a full criminal empire, depending on which choices you kept making. The consequences were real inside the game's logic, and that logic was surprisingly deep for something that looked like a MS Paint doodle. Created by Skyboas, it was one of the earliest browser games to give players genuine agency in an open world, just a city full of systems to poke at. That's a harder thing to build than it looks, and he built it with stick figures. Most kids playing it had no idea they were being introduced to open-world RPG design philosophy years before they'd touch a GTA or a Skyrim. They just thought they were killing time. They were actually learning what freedom in a game could feel like. The graphics were as simple as games get. The freedom underneath them wasn't. Stick RPG rewarded you for figuring out its systems. The next one punished you for having any logic at all. The Impossible Quiz. Every game so far had rules. Logic you could learn, patterns you could master. This one looked you dead in the eyes and threw all of that out the window. The Impossible Quiz is exactly what it sounds like, a series of questions where the correct answer is almost never what you'd expect. The rules changed without warning, the answers mocked your logic, and just when you thought you'd cracked the pattern, question 41 erased everything. But what made it legendary wasn't the difficulty, it was what the difficulty did to a computer lab. In the pre-walkthrough era, a whole class would huddle behind one screen just to watch someone fail at question 41. It was the communal suffering at its finest. Created by Splapmido, it understood something most games didn't. Frustration, when shared, becomes entertainment. We're only halfway through the list, but I already feel I missed a Flash game that dominated your school. Drop it in the comments. Bloons Tower Defense. A monkey throwing a dart at a balloon. That was the entire pitch, and somehow it became one of the most played games in internet history. Bloons Tower Defense is a classic tower defense game. You place units along a path, enemies travel that path, and your job is to stop them before they reach the end. Except the enemies are balloons, and your units are monkeys, and for some reason, that specific combination was completely irresistible. The gameplay loop was pure and simple. Place towers, upgrade towers, watch numbers go up, watch balloons pop. Just an endlessly satisfying cycle of optimization and destruction. But here's the thing about Bloons. It didn't just kill time, it ate it whole. You'd sit down meaning to play one round. 20 minutes later, you were still there. By 2011, 3 billion people had made that same mistake. Not million, billion. A small studio in New Zealand called Ninja Kiwi watched their dart-throwing monkey game turn into a $100 million company. Nobody planned for that. Nobody could have. They just understood one thing nobody else did. The most powerful force in gaming isn't story or graphics or even fun. It's the feeling that you almost had it, that next time you won't let one through. After all that careful tower placement, this next one just wanted to watch you fall apart. Happy Wheels. Every game so far had some kind of goal, a finish line. Happy Wheels didn't care about any of that. Created by Jim Bonacci, Happy Wheels was a ragdoll physics game, where you picked a character, a businessman on a Segway, a dad on a bike with his kid in tow, an old man in a wheelchair, and attempted to navigate brutal obstacle courses that other players had designed specifically to destroy you. And destruction was the point. For the first time, losing was infinitely more entertaining than winning. Every failed attempt sent your character flying apart in a spectacular fashion, and somehow that never got old. And it was absolutely perfect because of it. The real genius was the level editor. Bonacci gave players the tools to build their own courses, and millions of middle schoolers responded by engineering the most sadistic obstacle courses ever conceived. Impossible rope swings, hidden spike traps, elaborate setups designed purely to make you suffer in the most spectacular way possible. It was so universally played that it practically birthed the modern YouTube gaming industry. Entire channels were built just by recording reactions to this one ragdoll physics engine. If you think this was pure chaos, this next one slowed everything down and somehow hit just as hard. Age of War. Age of War is a hybrid tower defense and action game where you build units, defend your base, and attack your opponents, all while evolving through 5 eras of human history. Stone Age clubs eventually give way to cannons, then machine guns, then lasers. The concept was simple, the execution was deeply addictive. What separated it from everything else on this list was the pacing. Every other game here gives you instant dopamine. Age of War made you earn it. You'd sit there for 45 minutes, carefully managing gold, surviving wave after wave, absorbing the pressure, all for the single most satisfying moment the Flash era had to offer, unlocking the next age before your opponent did. And it wasn't just the progression. Each era came with its own special attack, a screen-clearing ability you could only use once you've saved up enough points. Timing that correctly, deploying it at exactly the right moment, was its own kind of satisfaction entirely. Age of War was a Flash game that successfully disguised itself as a history lesson, fooling teachers and IT alike. And underpinning all of it was a soundtrack so perfectly matched to the experience that it has millions of plays on YouTube today. People returning just to feel that exact hyper-specific focus one more time. The quietest game in the computer lab, and maybe the most legendary. Every single game on this list was free. Most of them were made by 1 or 2 people. None of them were supposed to matter. But you still remember exactly which computer you were sitting at. You remember who was next to you. You remember the specific panic of alt-tabbing when a teacher walked past. If this brought something back, subscribe. There's more where that came from.